Hello, welcome back. There we go. Zoom in a little bit. I've done a little bit of work in the last several minutes. I want to show it to you. I'm using a dull pale green around the tree. And so all of these dark branches, some over here and these over here, all of these dark branches, I did not paint them as dark branches. They were simply dark areas, and I've carved into them with the light colored green paint and negative painted the branches, and gives rise to the observation that got a bee buzzing in my ear. Whenever possible, you should do negative painting. That is to say, whenever possible, you should render your image by painting around your image. Whenever possible. That's a big statement. It's a slight exaggeration, but one worth heeding. Whenever you can, instead of painting a thing, paint around it so that it looks like there's a thing there, but you didn't paint the thing, whatever it may be. You painted around it. I do this a lot when I paint crowds of people on streets, at festivals and so forth, which I paint a lot of festivals. Instead of painting the people, I just make big amorphous blobs, shapeless blobs, where people are going to be, and then I come in and carve up those blobs, making people. Now the same thing with these telephone wires, power lines, whatever they are, going through that area. Those were some pencil lines, but now I've painted up to them, and our eyes get a kick out of that. Okay, why? I just said why you should always, whenever possible, paint around things instead of rendering them. Render stuff around them. And a good question would be, says who? And how come? Why is that a principle? Well, here's why there is a principle, and it is this. It's very simple, very primitive, fundamental, but here's what we're tapping into when we do that kind of thing. Our eyes get a kick out of being fooled. Our eyes, and of course when I say our eyes, I really mean our brain, of course I mean our mind, but it's the visual part of our mind, so you'll forgive me if I refer to it as our eyes. Our eyes get a kick out of being fooled by what's on top of what. So back to the power lines just for a second. All of us know that, quote unquote, we know, quote unquote, that the artist painted a background and then drew or painted those wires on top of the background. And in fact, that is the way most or many artists would in fact paint. But that's not how these were done. In this case, there are lines there, and I actually painted the background around the line, so the background paint is on top of, closer to us than the wires. The wires are actually holes in the paint, very, very thin paint, of course, but enough for our brain to get that momentary little tickle, little buzz, that little whee, what's on top of what. And so that's why, whenever possible, you should try to paint things. Let me give you another example. Have you ever seen somebody, for some reason this comes to mind, you ever seen somebody do a painting of the... Okay, lost you there for a minute. So I need to be careful not to do too much of this hard edges and details. And I'm being very careful that the area where I'm doing the hard edges has been right in here. I've already got a little bit on this tree, but right in here. And I think I'm good with that. I'm going to do a little bit more on the shadows of this house. I'm talking, where do I want my hard edges? Some here, and some here, and that's probably all. Do you hear the hesitance in my voice? Part of me wants to come over and do hard edges on this house and on this shed back here and on this tree. But the smart part of me, I believe, is going, be careful, don't do too much. And I think the smart part of me is right. So, how much more of that do I do? I don't know. Now, soft edges I can do galore. Like right now, I'm doing soft edges. I'm just toning. I'm just doing some color up there. And that's pretty safe, quite safe. In fact, I'm eliminating even a little bit of texture up here. So that's good. Do you remember me saying it's real easy for a painting to have too many hard edges? Almost impossible for a painting to have too many soft edges. I'm going to say that again because you need to hear it again. Nearly impossible for a painting to have too many soft edges. Almost guaranteed your painting has too many hard edges. And I'm not picking on you, I'm picking on all of us here. Okay? So adding soft edges is almost always a good idea, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually diminishing texture a little bit. I'm going back to the fuzz layer, right? Now, there's a little bit I need to do. I do need to do some blue sky holes in the faraway bank of trees. But before I do that, let me see, I'm trying to decide if I want to clean these brushes. Yeah, I'm just going to wipe them off. And then go straight to blue with these brushes. So my blue will already be a little bit dirty because I'm not using clean brushes. So that's good, because I want a dirty blue in this case. Good. Glad I figured that out. So I want some sky holes up here. I can do soft sky holes with some degree of impunity and without fear of punishment from the edge god. You know, the one who comes down and says, too many hard edges, and smites me with his thunderbolt. Okay, so I don't want the edge god coming down and smiting me. So I can do quite a few soft edges. But I want just a few, very few hard edges, and I'm going to be very careful about where I put those. You know what? I'm using a kind of paint right now. Huh. It is the right kind. The tube has a different viscosity from the normal that I'm used to using. Same brand, same everything, same color, same brand, Alkyd White, but it's creamier, different. I want just a little bit of sky over here. Okay, you know what? I feel like this is starting to get really boring for you guys, so let me fuzz that out again. And I'm gonna paint on my own for a while because I don't want to bore you to tears. By the way, speaking of boring people to tears, I discovered yesterday here and there I am losing subscribers. I lost several yesterday, maybe as many as half a dozen, because I'm sure it's because I had so many live videos. Does anybody know, please send me a comment, does anybody know how I can do live videos without pestering people who don't want so many live videos? Does that make sense? I know they can unsubscribe, which is what they've done, but anyway, is there any solution there? It's probably their problem, isn't it? They have to click some button, but is subscribe the only option? There's subscribe and then there's follow, right? People, if they don't want to get notified every time I'm doing a live broadcast, they need to unclick follow. Am I right? I'm certainly not an expert at this Facebook stuff. Please let me know if there's something I can do to keep from losing irritating subscribers by, like I did yesterday. I had 15 15 broadcasts yesterday. That's a lot. Some people get tired of it, evidently. Okay, I've got too many dots of blue everywhere. Okay, I'm going to fix that and be back in a little while. Again, let me see if anybody's left any comments. Toby, glad it's not boring, my friend. Appreciate it. Good, glad to hear it. So, yeah, beware the sky dots. Exactly. Thanks, Toby. So, excellent description. Beware. We want sky holes. We do not want sky dots. You're exactly right. Thank you, my friend. I'll be broadcasting later. Let people be irritated. I'll be back in just a little while. But what I'm doing right now is so slow. I don't want to put you to sleep. Thanks. Bye bye.